Well, hello, I'm live. Thank you for your patience, whoever was out there. Had some USB cabling issues for this headset base station. Video hopefully is good. If people can give me a thumbs up or not on their video, that'd be useful, and we'll do that on the Google Hangout chat. So let me fire that up for my own eyeballs so I can see what's going on here. All right, in the Q&A, and do a quick test.
Well, hello, I'm live. Thank you for your patience.
Mute on that. Okay, just a quick sound check. Someone out there can give me a thumbs up. Just click the thumbs up button on the Google chat. All right, I'm going to get started. I'm not going to bother with Periscope unless someone tells me that's really important to them or they have some folks they could get it off to. But I'm not thinking it's really worth it. I've got a second camera right behind the Logitech C920 that's on a tripod that you're looking at. And don't worry, I'm not going to sit behind this computer the whole time. I am ready to get started with the unboxing. So I'm bringing up my little project plan now. And that would be on TinkerTry.com, main homepage, /superserver-live. If you haven't already seen that article, it gives you a little homework or background. It gives you 3 links to look at. The top one is for the event that you're on right now. And the other articles are my recent work. Leading up to this, it's really been a 4 1/3 year wait since Vzilla was born in 2011. That was a Core i7 on an ASRock Z68 motherboard. And back then, thermal paste, motherboard assembly, putting it in. This is going to be less than 1 cubic foot, all pre-assembled and ready to go. The parts that are new to me is using Supermicro's variant of IPMI and, cabling that and getting that going. So let's dive in with the unboxing. I'll also mention a couple other things. In that project plan there, in that same article, you'll see, what do I have? 8 steps planned, right? So in those 8 steps, one of them, or several of them, involve, like I said, stuff I haven't done before. So maybe folks out there can be my wingmen and women. All right, so I've got the chat going. I see you all out there. I'm getting a thumbs up on the video and audio. And let's see. Okay, looks like we're still good. Now, making sure I'm on camera, and the angle's right here. It's time to get started with opening this thing. Okay, this is a little tricky in that I don't have, I'm going to need to get the live preview rather than the chat window up. So just give me a second to get the live video up because I need to see what's actually going on, not what's going on 30, 40, 50 seconds ago. Just one moment. And actually, it would be a real good idea for me to record what's going on as well. Okay, so my desktop's being recorded with Camtasia for later playback in case we do something interesting together here. So that means one more sound check. Okay. Anyone click that thumbs up or give me an idea how I look. What I'm going to do is visit my own article right now on Chrome, duplicate it, and just visit the stream. So I've got my preview window open, got my live video window open, and it says 10 viewers now. All right. Let's get started. Here's the box. A couple of things to notice. I'm going to cover the serial numbers for you here, but the thing to notice would be the Supermicro gives you all the details right inside of the box. That also means if it's on the front step of your house, you might want to be aware of that because it's a rather conspicuous box and pretty obvious what it is, including the model number, so anyone could figure out what it is right from the outside. 15 pounds to ship. Cost me $80-something to get it from San Jose, California, all the way to here in Wethersfield, Connecticut. So that would be a consideration where you'd probably want to go low and slow and cheap, meaning $0 if you go with Wired Zone, where I bought mine. But you didn't come here to see me talk and do nothing. You came here to see this box get opened. And believe me, it's been here since around 11 a.m. I'm quite eager to see this myself after writing so much about it and researching it. Now, it's rather humid. It's summer, June 25th, 2015, and I'm not worried about static straps, frankly. So you are not going to see me get fancy today with static straps. Okay, there's the packaging. Let's make sure you get that camera angle down a little bit at this point. That'll help. And slide the whole thing out. It's rather lightweight, not exactly a big deal. Put that foam aside. Show you what else is in the box. A little bit of accessory stuff. The camera, super wide camera, so that's going to help. All right. It's using a bit. I'm going to open up the accessory bag first. Okay. Standard power cord. Looks like 6 feet to me. Now, I'm ready for it. You are going to see the watt burn, and I'm going to make sure you can see the watts burned when I power this thing up. Okay, this looks like some sort of drive ejection for the CD-ROM. So a metal bracket and some tiny screws there. Now my distant camera, I'm not sure that's going to show everything the way I want to, but I guess it's going to be good enough. Alright, let's open up the bag. So now we've got the contents of the bag. And inside the bag is those 5 bags. We've covered this one. I'm not going to be touching CD-ROM or even using CD-ROM. I use Rufus these days. Some keys. 2 of them. Alright, looks like focus was hunting a little. Hopefully it stays locked on. We've got 4 screws here. And 7 of another type of screw. Alright, and then a whole bunch of tiny flathead screws that look like they're going to help me fasten drives in. Alright, and then some drive numbering going on there. One thing with periscope or interaction would be, you could hear your voices, right? I'm not going to hear voices, but I don't actually, I would want to get confirmation in the chat that people are good now. Okay, if folks, if you could text each other or hit refresh on the video. So let me send out a quick tweet because apparently people are having a little trouble. Although we obviously have 15 people on live. So I'm not going to worry too much about that, but let's get going. Twitter, just going to retweet the last one. Get the direct link to the stream. That my wingman apparently got for me. Greatly appreciated. Okay. Okay, got that tweet out. And time to continue onward. Alright, let's see if we can get that camera view close enough to actually show you what's in this bag here. This is the HDD bag, labeled HDD. And how's it Logitech going to do in this pretty well lit room on getting autofocus going there? There you go, it worked. So there's the screw bag with drive labels. Okay. And keep those 2 pieces out. And now it's time to open up the server. Ta-da! All right. Usually I would do this alone, like we're all inclined to do. Figured out, let's try something new. It's only once every 4 years or so I get this opportunity. And there's the box. Yeah, I'll open up the front soon, but let me show you the back first. Okay, you're looking at the back plate. I hope it's not going to show the serial number. And it just did. A little late for that. All right. You can look at the ports. Okay, so blue, USB 3, 2 of them. 10 gig, 2 of them. 1 gig, 2 of them. VGA. And finally Ethernet for IPMI. That is it. So that's the extent of what you need to know about what's on the back panel. And a fan there. Let me take a moment to grab a sticker so I can kind of deal with that serial number a little better. Okay. Pretty gaudy piece of red tape, but that'll do the trick. All right, what else do I want to point out about the back here? Well, the shiny metal plate has some punch outs for other stuff. It's just not implemented on this particular Mini ITX motherboard. Okay. Now we do have thumb screws. I noticed Patrick Kennedy on servethehome.com in his excellent review talks about lack of thumb screws or he didn't really like needing tools to open the back. So let's see if I'm able to use my fingers to get these going. So they do have knurled grips for your fingers, but it seems they shipped it from the factory rather tight. So to get that open, I'm going to need to get the screwdriver out. It's okay, let's get the front going. Come on, autofocus. There we go. There's some distractions here. Okay, over on the front. There we go. All right. The lighting is not really bouncing off the front like I'd like. That's going to give you a better view. So tilt it up. And there you go. Power, obviously, and some LEDs that you're going to see. The mesh feels very fine to my fingers, meaning I might actually catch some dust without, pantyhose or something to filter the dust. So it'll be interesting to see how dirty this front door gets over time. But again, the mesh feels really dense to me, really fine mesh. Okay, and there's your LEDs. Come on, autofocus. There we go. Please, Logitech. C920, behave. Can't you just focus right there? There, come on. Alright, well, hunting a little bit. That CD tray, that half height 5 1/4 at the top, I don't believe I will be using for much of anything. Okay? Now, this isn't going to boot very well without any memory, so it's time to open it up. Looks like standard Phillips is going to do nicely for me here. Just loosening that a little bit to get past that first quarter turn where it was really tight. Looks like we have a Kensington or a U-bolt here too for locking things. Okay. Now on my article, I also have a link to the instruction manual. So that's not something I even had a whole lot of time to read. I had a busy week with other activities in my personal life. So getting ready for this, well, really was about the memory DIMMs. And I'll be honest, they don't have, on page 4.4, which talks about memory, they don't have a chart that gives me a warm fuzzy saying the memory DIMMs will work, but Supermicro's site does. The 32 gig DIMMs I have should work just fine. And I'm getting my first look at this motherboard. It's just crazy small. This is a lot of fun to finally see it in person. Now I need to get some lighting for you there. And there is the system. CPU cooling fan, 4 DIMM slots, USB standoff, an unused power connector I'm seeing there. Power supply obviously coming out at the top. Fan in the back of the power supply. And of course a fan in the back of the unit. CPU fan built in. Let's give you a tour of the other side. I'm having no problem holding this thing up. It really doesn't seem like 15 pounds actually, until we put some dries in it. Just not a big deal to hold it. Okay, nicely organized. 6 gigabit SATA 3 cables I'm looking at there. Each of the drive bays for them. And see if we can get a little tilt to show the PCI slot. Get illumination going. Yeah, I'm tricking the camera having this white background. There we go, that's working better. Okay, so now you're having a better look at that. And we're also seeing a little bit of an orange SATA connector on the motherboard showing. So yes, indeed, we seem to have, whoa, focus. Right here, we seem to have ourselves a unused eSATA style cable. Sorry, not regular SATA. Look at that again. Hello, focus. Come on. There we go. Fun of being live again. Let's give it a target to stay focused. That'll help. All right. I'm seeing nice cable organization here. Really nothing to complain about the default layout. Someone else obviously assembled the unit and it's really just ready for me to go. I'm seeing spare power on the top, and I'm certainly seeing a nice convenient place to put an SSD right on top if I should choose to do so. I also see an air baffle. See that 45-degree hunk of plastic right in front of my arm skin in the background there? That's diverting some airflow down to that CPU fan. So it's taking it, sucking it through the front grit, right here, this grill, where my thumb is, and funneling it right over to the CPU to keep it a little cooler, and the chipset on the motherboard, I would think too. You'll also see some heat standoffs back here. Okay. Now, quick check. Let me open up a back channel, hang on. Okay, time for the memory DIMMs. It's already 27 after the hour, and it turns out in 33 minutes we have Jim Collison, Home Gadget Geeks, coming up. All right, memory DIMMs. I open the box upside down, just fine. So you'll see a little bit strangely packaged. These things are expensive, 300 something each, and it's okay, they're fine. They're in plastic. Now I'm looking at my first 32 gig DDR4 chips that I've ever held. Okay, let's have a close look at those. And do I need to worry about serial number of those? Not so sure. Let's get the camera going. There we go. That's a lot of chips on that heavily populated board. Now, how many watts does it burn? I don't know. It's 1.2 volt, considered a low volt DIMM. Exactly what I want. 2 out of my 4 DIMM slots are going to be filled, giving me 64 gig of RAM. But I will be able to go all the way up to a nice 128 gig of RAM on this home server. That's the really sweet part about this 8-core Xeon processor. All right. Now, the DIMMs. You can be able to see me do this? I don't know. Simple enough. Pop it right out. Interestingly, the shrink wrap says DDR3. So before I even go further, going to just take a quick moment to make sure the part number matches what I was expecting. So heading right over to my own article. And I'm going to take a quick check of the exact Samsung part number, which was listed as Supermicro on the on their website here, on wiredZone.com, but the part number actually showed as Samsung, and they told me this on the phone that, you know, everything would be fine there. Alright, so DR432L, I want to see that on there somewhere, and I'm not, but I see the words 32 gig, and I'm not going to worry about it. Again, it's Samsung, it's 32 gig. There is one other manufacturer part number on there. I'll read that to you and Google for it myself here. M393A4K40BB0-CPB. That comes up with an Amazon listing, and it's DDR4. 2133 is the speed. So I have that peace of mind now that I'm good. I also remember that I need to check the manual for which DIMM slots it goes in. So, I believe 2 blue, not sure. So, bring up the product manual now for the Super Server. And what I could do is share out my desktop with the stream here in a moment. Let me just get this going first. Okay, now I have the instruction manual. I'll share out my desktop for the live stream because there's not much to look at the moment while I'm busy doing that. Okay, and I'd mentioned page 4-4 is the one to go to for memory. Okay, there it is. So for 2 DIMMs and only 2 DIMMs, you want to use A1 and B1, which means A1 and B1. 2 blue slots. Okay, that looks pretty clear to me. They got a blue in the picture, A1, B1. A1, B1. Okay, we're good there. Back to sharing out the camera. Okay, moving right along to installing the DIMMs in the 2 blue slots. I need to apply pressure on both sides, and that's going to be hard from your camera angle. I don't have another person to operate the camera, so we're going to have to live with that. Okay, sliding open the DIMM retention clips. The air baffle is a little bit in the way. Not really. Just get that situated and lined up. And I'm sorry, but I got to turn things to me so I can see better. Alright, here goes the DIMM. Even pressure both sides, clips closed. I'm good. Next DIMM. Even pressure, click, click, closed. Memory's installed, and there's actually room now above that air baffle. So the 2 don't touch each other at all. There's really no issue. Okay. Well, what's next? Next would be powering it up. Now, for video. Why do IPMI when I can share my desktop and show you 1920 by 1080 up to for video, right? So the next step will be, we've already shown the design, shown the features, install the memory, storage. Okay. What do we have going on here for storage? Well, got an Amazon package here because I needed an adapter. Those are USB headers, so that'll give me an extra USB off the motherboard if I want to put a USB 3 or USB 2 device inside the server. That's desirable to me. Set that aside for now and go to the next package, which is what I need, and that is some storage. Sorry, not the neatest, nicest opening job here. So this is the earthquake-proof Smackin' SATA SSD converter. Now, I don't know why the Amazon listing brags about how it's earthquake-proof, but it's just a chip, an interposer, an adapter. Nicely wrapped, actually. Now we get to the inside. Looks like scissors would actually do better than my fingers for this last part. Yep, scissors. Okay, just looking for where I tossed those right before we went live with the video. What is this interposer for? This is going to get me M.2 at the end there, the slower speed. There's different connector types for M.2, and the other side is going to be my SATA storage. So what I need to use this device for is to adapt from this enclosure I have that for my SATA drive that's not in use, that I just used Parted Magic to wipe, so it's like new. I did a secure erase of the SSD that's in here. I'm going to pull it out of this enclosure and install it here so that I have a little bit of storage to put on the motherboard of this new server. And we can stick ESXi in there and a USB key if we want. We'll be able to move forward there as well. Okay, and SATA. Let's take these screws, set them aside. And let's get the SATA drive freed from its 2.5-inch laptop style drive enclosure if you've never used one of those. I like this one because it has no dip switches, so this brand has worked well for me. Okay. This thing's not very big. I think it's only 128, but it'll do for the purposes of initial testing of ESXi, of course. Alright, so now, simple enough to install it. Just put it in and put two screws that I just set aside back in to hold it in place. So it comes with screws, so I was completely wrong there. So on the standoffs you'll see there are two screws, so I'm just going to remove those. Too busy looking at the camera angle and not what's right in front of my eyeballs. "17 viewers. Wow, thank you for not bailing on me." Yeah, can't really rush these kinds of things. This is expensive gear, and I appreciate your sticking with me. Hopefully I'll make it worth your while by getting this thing actually booted, and I'm definitely going to want to check out the watt burn when it's idle. Okay, that was very easy to do. Nice little spinny cap on the screwdriver handle so I can apply pressure while tightening. Okay, it's interesting that it's a little bit uphill. So as you look at the gap there, it's on a slight slant. Not of any consequence that I can think of, but I'm ready to now install my fake M.2 drive, which I don't own one yet. I'm waiting for the Samsung NVMe M.2, which will replace all of this and go right on my motherboard and have incredible speed. 2, 3, 4 times faster than SATA, leaving ESXi protocol and SATA 3 limitations in the dust. Okay, is it going to be easy or hard to install this on the motherboard? The answer is I'm a little confused in that it looks like I need a standoff. So I found where in the motherboard it goes, but what's going to keep it from flapping in the wind there? And it looks like I need a standoff or a screw at the top. So, do I have one of those in those little screws I set aside? I'll go back and look in the kits, see if there's anything that looks appropriate for installing SATA. And of course I might also want to look at the instruction manual. So that's a good time to share out my desk again. I am not seeing, okay, there we go. John Stutzman. Thank you, John. There's this tag on the bottom of the server that I may want to cover. He's absolutely right. It's weird. The chat is not telling me the times it's coming in. It doesn't seem to be very reliable. Sorry about that. Don't want to let you down, John Stutzman. Your videos are awesome and super thorough. And am I showing a serial number that I shouldn't? No. Looks like we're good. Alright, let's get that a little closer. Come on, focus. There you have your label, UL listing. And another sticker near the back. And rubber feet. And no screw holes, which is kind of interesting. So there's kind of a floating metal board on the bottom, a double layer of aluminum on the bottom, it seems. So far, I've not felt like I've been prone to cutting myself, although there'd be some sharper metal around this SSD tray here. Now, to point out, you know, we could have just used this enclosure and put it up here, right? But I really wanted to try the M.2 in the motherboard. That's the part of the BIOS I want to see. Okay, so back to the question at hand, and that is, how am I going to install the M.2? Do I have a problem? So back to screen sharing. Sharing out my desktop. And Control F, searching for M.2. Okay, so it's telling me where in the motherboard it goes. And I'm here over on the PCI side, and I see a PCIe slot times 4. And that's what I was talking about. How about I go to the home, Control F, M.2, see if we find other references to M.2. Alright, I'm not seeing guidelines on how to install M.2. I'm going to try this and see how it likes to naturally kind of lay something to point out about M.2. Let me share out my camera view again. Okay, camera view. Focus, come on. Putting this in. We have to be aware that the pins, the count of the pins, is different on the two sides of M.2. So this is a little bit narrower than this. So it is keyed. I want to be careful as I go and install this on the motherboard. Let's see which side looks like it has smaller. And it looks like it's going to be going face up. Pretty much impossible to show you this without a secondary camera. Alright, showstopper. This bracket is too wide. So the PCI slot next to it is not letting anything other than M.2 itself lie there. Not an M SATA with an adapter, like I was trying. So that means to get storage back, we're going to the top here. I'm really sorry about that, folks. Backing right out of everything I just did. It's now 45 minutes into this. Can't think of another way. It's the only adapter I have in the house. It's the only M.2 I've ever owned. So, complete showstopper. Oh well, at least that part was under $10, I believe. Okay, almost done making this a normal drive again. Soon we'll just have a run-of-the-mill SATA 3 SSD. It's actually about 3 years old though, so soon I'll be gutting parts from my existing Xeon into this baby Xeon. Just taking VMFS formatted SSDs and spinny drives, 4 terabyte and 6 terabyte, out of Xeon and moving them and installing ESXi here, and we'll see the data store and I'll just import the VMs. It's just no big deal to VMware to do that. Okay, so this is going to get a little trickier in that I brought the IPMI manual up earlier. I've actually rebooted since, so I'm going to need that IPMI manual and need to figure out how to configure so we can actually see the video coming out of the machine when we boot it, right? I might just end up giving up and grabbing a monitor, and that's fine too. And since I'm running so low on time, that might be a better approach than worrying about IPMI right now. Okay. Here we go. What do we have here? We have cable bundle and power and SATA signal resting right on top. They're cable tied together, a little tight, and I need signal and power right now to reach. So it sure seems like I'm going to need to snip one wire tie to allow myself to do what I want to do right now. So, toenail clippers that I room and use for wire ties and so forth. They come in handy or something like this because you're less likely to snip something you don't want to. Okay, that wire tie is now free. We now have ourselves a rather tight SATA signal cable to barely reach the SSD. So I'm a little surprised about that. Let's see if we can make it work. The answer appears to be no problem. But I haven't gotten the drive resting in the right spot yet. Let's go under for this. And it's a little tighter. Looks like it's designed for, you know, laptop style 5 1/4 drive, and there's 2 cable drops on it. So why go with the tight one when I can go with the loose one that has plenty of room? So I now have a drive that's powered up and has signal cables, and if I wanted to, I could just put a new wire tie on there. At the moment, I don't really see the need. Now, what if I want to fasten this drive? Well, let's at least get that going. There are 2 screws. 1, 2. That's it. It's going to help me lift up that plate. I'm now using a small Phillips. Okay. Okay. Plate has a nice little key design that slides right in. And now I'm ready to fasten the drive to the spot that it belongs in. And you may remember we have plenty of screws. Now I'm just lining up the holes and installing the SSD the proper way. So, which baggie do I need? Well, that would be the 2.5 inch bag. It's labeled 2.5 inch. Opening that up, sure looks like the correct screw type. Not my favorite screwdriver for this, but it's okay. Okay, anyone in the audience have some questions? Someone saying they switched to Chrome and got video and sound. Oh boy, okay, so some interesting issues out there. But 11 people successfully still staying locked down. So soon, in just a few moments, I'll be powering this thing up and we'll get an idea of the watt burn. It's done. Slide this back into its little nest. Get those two set screws back in place that keep the SSD from going anywhere, or whatever 2.5 inch drive you want to put out there. Of course, it doesn't have to be an SSD. Could be a laptop style spinny drive. And it's got plenty of headroom, clearance. You could use a thick drive, so I think you can jam the fattest drive you could want to put up there. Okay, put the leftover screws back before I forget. Things organized. All right. Power up. Okay, let's get set up. You want to see inside. You want to see me hitting the power switch, and we're going to want that showing. Yeah, whatever works. All right. Now, let's get the tilt right. The display on. Actually, I'll just hit the power switch. So, display is now off. Plug it in, and monitor. Just one moment. It's going to take me. Okay, here's our monitor. Okay, it's going to get power. What we might need to do is something a little bit creative. First thing, I need a VGA cable. Yeah, getting everything set up here. VGA is it. Box of VGA cables, which is getting kind of old because I don't use these very often anymore. This is an ancient monitor. Don't really care if I scrape it up a little bit. It's for a good cause. An audience of people waiting to see this thing powered up. And I can run memtest. An idea how the memory looks and how much watt burn we get when memtest is running. Alright, let's think about this. Maybe we can do video somewhere near the back, I guess. Server on the side. Well, the cable length we can get, that's a really puny cable for the monitor for some reason. Flip this around, see it. Plug the monitor in somewhere as well. Now we're talking, we're getting close. Alright, and then an arrangement of the server. We want you to be able to see the front bezel and LEDs when I turn this thing on without blocking the screen too much, if possible. So I need a box. Need something to elevate it just a bit so you can actually see what is going on when I turn this on. Okay, I now have a box. And here we go. All right, question is, can you see, be able to see the watts when I turn this thing on? I don't know, I'm gonna have to mess with it and tilt it a bit. Okay, now I'm plugging in the server to a dead power strip, right? It's obviously not powered up yet. Okay. Of course, you know, grab a keyboard here. For this initial power on, not really necessary, so we got no power on the monitor yet because we haven't powered this up. So let me go ahead and do that. So we got the monitor coming online here, hopefully. Yep. Monitor is up. And how high resolution is what you're seeing? Amp, watt. There it is, 00. Can you see 00? Hopefully the Google video is good enough quality for that. Plugging in, fan is on. We are at 42 watts momentarily. So it looked like maximum watt burn and maximum fan speed happened very briefly. And the fan settled right down. This is the very first turn on you're seeing where it seems to have stayed on. So server style, would have helped if I plugged in VGI. Server style, it went and decided to turn itself on by default without even asking me anything. Okay, so that's just factory defaults. Usually a consumer motherboard would not do that and assume you want it left running all the time. Okay, so we are at 39 watts. And it's a good sign, obviously, that we have that screen. Now I'll just grab a USB keyboard so we can do some stuff. The point is, one in this combined mouse, a ThinkPad style one, so I'm going to just take a moment. Okay, so now with a single USB, got myself a keyboard. It also has pointing functions. Plugging into USB in the back. Still at 43 watts here, if you can see that. Now this looks like it works pretty well. It's asking me insert media. Haven't done any kind of boot media yet. Go ahead and reboot for you now. Okay. System initializing. I already missed the hotkey to get in the BIOS. So that was kind of a mistake to jump and look at the angle. We are using 47 watts dipped to 42. So you're now seeing how long a reboot takes. And the answer is a little while, 20 seconds or so. Okay, F11. To invoke boot menu. Invoked. Nice. Down arrow, enter setup. And here we go. It actually knows the date. It's the 25th. And the time is 9:01. So 21. Okay. You can see our BIOS date, 1.0A. I'm going to want to check if there's a newer version of that, of course. And our total memory, 65 megabytes. Let me look at the Google thing out there, make sure you can actually see that. Is anyone out there? Okay, are there two SATA data cables on top? John Stutzman asks. No, it appears only one SATA data cable up top, but two SATA power. All right. Much better chat. All right. So now I use the correct chat button, and you're looking at me typing into the group chat. So if you put your questions there, that'll work a little better. Let me see what else people wanted to see. All right. I suspect we're so far away with the camera that nobody is seeing what's going on there. Also, you'll notice that I never even hooked up the hard drive before powering it on for the first time. So now is as good a time to do that as any. Let's move the keyboard over and let's move the monitor forward so folks have a better shot at seeing that. If I can somehow leave the watt burn showing too, that'd be kind of awesome. That's about as far as I can go without you missing some screen there. Get a tilt on this just right. Be able to easily read the watt burn. Wouldn't that be nice? All right. Looks like it's pretty good now. So I'm going to power this thing off. Momentary push worked fine. I plug SATA back in like I should have before. And again, John Stutzman asked, is there another signal cable up top? Clearly there is not from what I'm looking at here. I'm also looking at the interposer board, or the back plane, or mid plane if you want to call it that, where all the drives plug into, the 5 1/4. It's got some stuff in there. And it's going to be really hard to get the camera in there. Okay, so now we have a hard drive on there. I'm going to put memtest in. So here we have one of these little SAN discs and the label, so I know what's what. And hey, I can put that in the front so you can see something glowing when I power that on. So here we go with mem test. Can watch the watt burn again. I need to come around the front so I can see what I'm doing on the screen. Okay, so I'm getting ready with F11 and trying to situate this keyboard for more comfort. Just hitting F11 a bunch of times there. Did people use the chat? Nobody is using the chat. Alright, not sure what's up with that. But there is a live chat in Google Hangout. I typed some stuff, it says group chat, but nobody replied, so that's not a good sign. So I might be having some technical difficulties. Sorry about that. And folks, you should know that Home Server Show, not Home Server Show, excuse me, the AverageGuy.tv is starting now, if it hasn't already started, for Home Gadget Geeks and Dan McCabe. Okay, so I'm in the BIOS, and I'm going to wrap this up soon, because I'm going to attend the Jim Collison's podcast myself, but not without showing you around the BIOS first. Let me look at the live stream, see how it looks for you. Pretty good, but a giant reflection, so I want to do this for you. Nope. Now it's blowing out the video and you can't see the watt burn. Sorry about that. Just get rid of that reflection then. Okay. And see if I can't get that closer for you, because I really want people that showed up for the live event to see the font on the BIOS if they can. Of course, I'll be recording a YouTube video of IPMI where you can see the BIOS in full resolution glory and not have any issue reading it, so don't worry about that. Okay. The BIOS. Boot features, quiet boot enabled. Add on ROM display mode, forced BIOS. Restore on AC power loss last state. So that means when someone boxed this up and tested it, they must have had it on. So what I could do is, I'm going to say stay off. When I first plug it in, I don't want the machine to automatically turn on. So that's thing number one. Power button function, instant off. How about 4-second override? I think I would like that better. All right, watchdog function. After 5 minutes, if the machine is not responding, I believe it'll auto reboot. Okay, I'll leave all this stuff alone until I read more about it. Now I'm going to hit escape, go back in, and yes, the settings stuck. They're still there. At the end, of course, I'm going to save. CPU configuration. What do we want to do here? Hyperthreading enabled. Yep. Virtualization. Intel virtualization technology enabled by default. APM configuration in all kinds of sleep states. And that old clock spread spectrum feature still there. All right, chipset, Northbridge. Just a quick look around here. I'm going to whip through it. It's not finding any PCIe devices. Notice that's where it's showing the speed. And Gen 3 for the slots. This is very nice. I'm liking this already. VTD turned on by default. That's the other virtualization feature I would normally turn on. How about memory? Which is obviously working. With two of them, I guess this is the screen we want to look for. They're running at full speed. Awesome. 2133. Samsung. So that pretty well confirms I have nothing to worry about on memory. Southbridge, USB, legacy, I'm going to leave all that alone. SATA, all the drive bays empty. I didn't really show you drive bays are pulling out the device, did I? Drive bay 5, SATA port 5, run core, 120 gig SSD. Enabled for hot plug, interesting. Spin up, disabled, and then SATA device type. Hard disk drive. I changed it to solid state disk drive. So I moved from IDE to HCI by doing that. Alright. Good thing I checked that. Okay, Okay, escape that screen. Server. Version stuff. Onboard LAN. Now if I wanted to disable the 10 gig, oh, okay. Onboard LAN for boot from LAN, only one of them is on Pixie, okay. I'm curious actually if I can disable the 10 gig that I'm not using at the moment. And even better would be saving electricity, right? Because it does about roughly double the watt burn at idle. I'm moving it from 40 something all the way down to 22, I think. Okay, console redirection is enabled. So serial over LAN, all that stuff is all set up. Here's the settings for it. And COM port disabled. Just move along. ACPI settings. Okay, you've seen all the BIOS features. We didn't do boot. Hang on. So, no, you have not seen all the features. You saw that screen. Event log. View the log. Not much in there. IPMI is working. DCP failed, so it's that simple. So this would be a good time. What the heck? I'm just going to keep rolling. This is all on YouTube. Hopefully you can see the font well enough on the screen for this video to be useful. If not, I'll have to just go ahead and re-record it. It does work. So now we'll click on support gigabit switch and the line comes in here. About gigabit. Okay, so once I plug this cable in, presumably we're going to see an IP address, and that's not rocket science, so I'm just going to then point my laptop to the IP. We should get a web interface, something Java-ish, and then it should be off to the races. So now it's time for plugging in this gigabit. And I'm plugging that in the IPMI in the back. That's the top left corner, the orphaned, all alone port. Okay. What do we got? Update IPMI LAN selection configuration. Say yes. Let's go back in. Do we have a link layer light? We do. I'm seeing lights blinking and it just went steady, or blinky green. So how do we get that IPMI to go? Still not showing an IP address, so BIOS will set below next to IPMI next boot. Okay, let me just say no, the default. Now I'm going to hit F4, save and exit, say yes. Let it reboot. All right, one person, Howard Wand, thank you. A shout out to Howard. That I guess it's going okay. He doesn't have a question. Okay. F11. Back in there. Actually, I have plenty of time. There's no need for me to jump like that. Now I can't even see the watt burn from 45 watts. Okay. I hit F11. Let's turn off the light now. Okay. Hopefully you'll have an IP address soon and none of that'll matter. It's asking me boot order, what do I want to boot off of. But in this case, I still need to enter setup to get IPMI going, so you can enjoy a much better view, hopefully. There we go. .189. Security, boot order, run core first, USB next. that makes sense for most people, but in my case, USB key, we want that on top. So enter selects the item. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this brand of BIOS here. USB key by SanDisk. All I gotta do is this. I'm being fancy and I didn't need to be. Do I want UEFI boot? Sure, I'll try it, because it is USB 3 also, but all that's on there right now is memtest. If that fails, how about we go USB key SanDisk regular? And all these other ones, I'd actually want to disable. So for an ESXi environment, that's what you'd want to do. Now I might slap Windows 10 or 8.1 on there, in which case I'd want to put the drive back in there. All right. All those other devices aren't going to be found. And I'm on a roll, let me just do it. Just disabling all other boot devices. It's probably quicker with a local keyboard than over KVM over IP anyway. Not really sure until I try it. Okay, they're all disabled. Remember IPMI was 189? 189, there we go. F4, save and exit. Reboot. Okay, now, time to share out my desktop. Again. Okay, desktop shared out. Over here you'll see me looking at the chat, and there's no timestamps on there, which is frustrating. But I think I answered the questions people had. And it's time to point to 189 and see IPMI. So I've used Integrated Management Module on Blade Center from IBM. I've used ILO on HP. This is actually my first time seeing Supermicro. And looks like it would be really handy if I had the manual. Handy. Time to open that up. Not sure which variant I have. Okay, admin it looks like. Here we go, uppercase. Could hit enter. Google Hangouts is warning me it's sharing my desktop at the bottom there, that's fine. Awesome, we're in. Ah, this is fun. I'm not going to update my Java at this time. It's not happy with me that none of the MAC addresses are plugged in. Refresh preview image or remote control. This is cool. 1920 1080. I'm not sure how Google Hangouts do with recording desktop. Hopefully, good. There is a whole lot in here. Wow, fan mode, all kinds of good stuff. Standard speed, full speed, heavy OI speed. Okay. Let's just get going with remote control and let's see how Java does. Laptop is busy invoking Java. This is normal. Java. Come on. Heavy Java. You can do it. Now this laptop's a little burdened because it's actually recording Camtasia of the desktop the whole time. This last hour and 20 minutes. How many of you are still with me? Let's take a look. 14 people, holy smokes. Thank you guys. Doesn't look like Java's doing too well here with the browser. Now I did say my Java was out of date or complain about that and I blew it off. I don't know. But let's see if we can get remote control going. Okay. There's also power control. Just going to power off the server immediately. Just got quiet, it worked. No, actually fan, hang on. Fan's gone. Looks like the browser just got messed up. Let me hit Control F5, let's see what happens. Okay, I got logged off somehow. A little weird, but alright. And LastPass is offering to save what we just did. Cancel that update. Let the spinning pinwheel go away. Come on. It did. Alright, now let's go to remote control. Console redirection. And see if it'll let me stave off its insistence on the latest Java. The answer is no. Okay. Or I could fire up Firefox or an Explorer and see what happens over there, but let me just fix Chrome here. Do some little clutter for you there. Oh dear. Java. Don't you love it? Let's see if Firefox does any better. Just curious. Oh, I didn't look at pop-ups too. Maybe there's pop-up blocking going on. Who knows what. All sorts of reasons it could be breaking, right? Okay, Chrome has sprung back to life. This is acting just like Electronics now, the JLNMP file. And it's going to open. It's going to work, so we don't really need Firefox. Okay, going to need to whitelist it. So Java control panel. Oh, we're in. Never mind. Woohoo! Awesome. This is good. Getting the wormhole effect. Probably shouldn't have shown the desktop there. There we go. So, we apparently did not power off the system. Remember, it logged off. And we did boot off of memtest. And it's working. So, this is good. It's been running for 1.5 minutes, actually. Now, we have power control right here. It went off, okay. And set power on. If we put the cameras back on the desktop, you would see how many watts it's burning. And it runs memtest, but I might as well just show you the BIOS. For your first time, you're seeing it nice and clear. So far, this is better than the Lantronix Spider I've been using, which is a way to add KVM over IP to your system if you don't have it natively. Okay, nobody's replied to the Twitter stream. Let's see what Dave and company is up. Whoa, numlock. That was weird. Supermicro booted. Boot menu or boot from Pixie, or just let it boot off the memtests. We're going to let it boot off the memtests. Okay. What else was in my plan? Oh, there's memtest. Cool. Well, maybe throw in VMware on there, right? So I'm gonna do that. See if I can get a vote from the crowd. People want to stick around. They want me to build a USB key from Rufus and stick it in and start installing VMware. They want me to torture it with memtest a little bit. They want to see what burn. I don't know. time to see questions from the people out there. 14 viewers still. All right, questions. Let's scroll through. Total cost for just the server. Okay. I've got an article for you. Person asking a question. It's right. Let's close some stuff that we don't need. Okay, the question is answered in this article where I talk about ordering it. $1,200. What does it come with? Chassis and case worth $170. Power supply, motherboard, as you saw, and a CPU fan permanently attached to the motherboard. At a total cost of $1,220 if you bought this individually, or $1,200 bundles with a 3-year warranty. Okay, so hopefully that answered that question. All right, what other questions do we have there? Put that in the got a little numlock reversal going on again here. Okay. Power strap, yep. Tagging the server. Tag in the bottom of the server I may want to cover. Oh well, it's already been shown at this point. And Dave, not running this, no. Okay, let's see. Are we missing home server show? Are they doing something over there? Let's have a look.
This is one of those things I need to add into my server.
Tagging the bottom of the server may want to come.
Okay, killed that off. So yeah, it looks like maybe they started talking about WordPress at the moment. Okay, watt burn. Get the lights on for a second. Check the watt burn. So running mem test, we're at 53. Okay, so we've upped the watt burn a little bit. Do you believe me or no? Why don't I just show you? So now we're back to the camera, and if you look here by my finger, you'll see I'm pointing and it's showing you the watt burn. Okay, and you have a horrible reflection on the screen again. All right. So go back to screen sharing, and why not show you the BIOS a little bit? Because it kind of ripped you off there. Getting a full 30 frames a second. Okay, we can end the test with option 2. So keyboard seems to be working. And what else could you do in there, right? Well, you got information, like how much memory. So we're at 2 gigahertz, 2000 megahertz right now at this moment in time. So I like this, showing our level 1, 2, and 3 cache, physical memory. There's your money shot right there. It's pretty exciting for me to finally break the 32 gig barrier. I'm very happy about that. Okay. Now I'm not getting mouse pass-through. Let's see, local mouse. Yep, mouse is moving. So on the keyboard that's attached to it, great. Is my mouse getting passed through? Huh. I don't know what that does, but alright. Well, I'm going to do a power reset. Let's see what that does. That'd be cool if I could show you the desktop and the video somehow. Can't think of an easy way to do that. Okay, this Java window just got resized a little funny. Looks like I have a scroll bar, so it's a little bit annoying. And you can't maximize that window, so. Alright, just a little bit of a UI issue there. Let's see if I can get into F11. Okay, so some special characters in there. Okay, it didn't really say if a confirmation that I hit F11 on time. And it worked, so that's good. So yes, remote control is working beautifully. Just not sure about the mouse yet. Okay, there is what I wanted to show you. Whoa, kept unlock it again. Let's get the distractions minimized and just show you the server. Okay, the video looks perfect. Again, I can't see any reason you wouldn't be seeing this. This is stuff I showed earlier, only much better and clearer. Intel virtualization technology is something you turn on for ESXi, and then chipset, Northbridge, not memory, right there, directed IO, VTD, also enabled by default. Just things like ready to do virtualization by default. I showed you this, that the solid state drive, I had to change it. It was on IDE by default instead of HCI, so obviously my run core is happier that way. And a bunch of stuff about the server, the options. Let's see what's in there, okay. Do I need a serial port? Not really. I ended up just turning that off. Boot options, and go back to factory default if we want. So did they change anything? Nah, nothing important. So discard, changes, and exit. Okay, so let me get an ESXi boot media for you here. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my desk for a moment here. Let's see what I got. So pretty regularly I end up with non-lock reversal. Kind of used to that stuff, but you know, it's a little annoying. Okay. So I'm going to fire up Rufus. .1p I'm going to use. And let me show you the desktop again. Sorry about that. Screen share. Come on. Okay, the entire screen is being shared. Portable Rufus is started. And browse our way to an ISO. Oh, that's not it. Come on. Okay, so while it's making that ESXi 6 boot media, turn off the sharing, show you server stuff again. Alright, what other buttons did we not cover? Or never opened it either. So I'm going to go ahead and power off. And remember, we now have to hold it for 4 seconds to get it to power off. I would think that would be a better default behavior. Okay, it just went off, and we saw a red light show up there momentarily. Okay, we're done with memtest 86. I like that the SanDisk Ultra you're able to grip it pretty easily. It's USB 3. And this would be a good time to show you the purple handles, which I haven't tried yet. So push, nice lever. Did that show on camera pretty well? Yeah, I think so. And there's your drive pad. Alright, so this rubber thing is just holding the screws, right? So we got screws there. So to install a drive, I'll need to, release those 4 screws and slide it on in. Let's see if the camera can show the inside of the drive bays. So you're getting a pretty good look. Okay, top of the server, there was questions about it. Just show it a little longer there for folks. Trying to scratch this new server up. It's hard to not be a little clumsy when you're looking at the camera and not actually what you're doing. Alright. What else can I point out about the drive? Well, Supermicro, I believe, has used these same purple handle things. They sell an SSD version of this, so if you want a 2.5-inch tray on there, you can just buy a handle and you can have a tray by default. This rubber thing is not going to come out easily, and you'll see I just snapped with my finger these spacer bars that are meant to pop out if you want them to. It's no big deal, I don't really care. And you do need a screwdriver for the back 2 screws. So it seems I only have 1 screw there and 1 screw there. On the front I don't. I need to break out the kit. In the front it just pops in with a little nubbin. Not sure if you're seeing that too well, but that's how it works. Okay, it looks like Rufus is slower because silly me, I actually creating it over the LAN. Boy, I made a little bit of a mess just grabbing a screwdriver here. So it would be kind of cool to see it drive in there. So while Rufus is almost done, let me go ahead and try to mount the drive. Okay, so these 2 screws are out. Boy, that monitor is in the way. Anyhow, yes, this piece of plastic can now be set aside somewhere. And now we have something that would be a little subject to, damage or kind of wiggly, right? So it gives it structure when you're sliding it in and out with that design, the way they have it. So let me just grab myself, I believe I have a 1 terabyte drive over here. Actually, you know what? Even more fun would be to shut down a drive that has VMs on it. Pop it out of Mozilla. So let me show you my desktop. Still have 13 viewers, so okay, keep on rolling here. Desktop is showing. Cool. Okay, you're going to see me with my vSphere web client log into my existing older Mozilla and gracefully shut it down. I'm thinking about its drives and the configuration, how long it will take me, and the answer is not very, but I will have a couple of thumb screws to pull out. There's obviously a mistake to make the Rufus media the way I did. Okay, keeping this laptop a little busy. Definitely is dragging a bit. Okay, you can see I have several VMs going, including a Windows 10 VM. And if I shut down ESXi, obviously all the VMs go down with it. This is a way to make sure the file system is clean. Okay, do people have questions? Well, this is not looking good. Does anyone call? Okay, that's old from Jay Moore. Okay, no new questions. I'm listening to Mozilla to see when it's powered off. It's about to complain and get very unhappy. There you go. Weird error here. Okay. Now the IPMI interface, it's still blinking. There's still power, right? The server has power, so I had IP connectivity, but I wasn't doing anything with it, so it went and killed Java on me. Okay, Mozilla is turned off. So it's time for me to go grab that drive. So it happens to be in the drive caddy. Obviously it's not spinning. It's been off for a little while now. It's rather cool to the touch. Western Digital red. Let's take the 4 screws out and put it in the new Super Micro caddy. Okay, so now it's lining up nicely that I have it right side up. 2 screws are handy, and I'll have to get 2 more out of the little baggie, right? As I mentioned earlier. So that filler piece of plastic, for some reason only has 2 screws, just to make it a little easy, 2 screw holes. I'd rather it had 4, frankly, so the screws are kept with the drives at all times, but that's okay. Minor thing. Okay, need to go. So I don't knock it over and make it fall. Rest it down flat. And now I'm going to look for drives. And I'm curious how this bag would be labeled. We have a motherboard bag, MB. That's not it. .5" Sorry, little lull here. Actually not finding a screw for that. This bag, that has, there we go, HDD bag. It's there. Remember, that's the bag with the stickers. You can actually label what drive goes in what slot if you choose to do so. Pretty cool idea. Closing the bag. and installing 2 more screws and reassembling the Supermicro by putting the drive in there. And that's exactly what I did not want to do on camera. That's a little embarrassing. So I stupidly left the handle out, and that made things a little tippy. Now with the handle up, it's a little less tippy, but hanging off the end of the table, that gets it standing up very nicely to make it super easy to put the screws in. So you just watched me mess up on camera. Laugh if you want. I'm sure you've all made mistakes. It's a little different when you've got people looking at you. So it's not the best idea to stay in a drive like this, but I kind of wanted you to see what I'm doing as well. So I'll blame it on that. How's that? All right. Handle opened. Bottom drive bay? Sure, why not? There's a light pipe. So we're going to get activity on this drive as it powers up. And that's cool. Generally something heavy you always want to put at the bottom. And okay. Felt a little like it was binding up. I just didn't want to force it. Oh, that's it. It works. Okay, let's put this thing back together. Very straightforward. I was just a little sheepish on the first one there. Okay, we have an assembled server once again. Slide it over a little so you can see all the pretty lights. And bring up a monitor so you can see a little something. Okay, and actually off camera it looks like a little problem with the Rufus. Let me just grab that file locally, just a moment. Okay, while I'm working on that, I can power on the server. There we go. Okay, so we obviously have a drive activity thing going on there too. It's all looking all right. Autofocus hunting. So earlier today I was cleaning off my local drive, and that's led to this embarrassing situation where it seems I don't have ESXi on my local drive, so that's why the problem. Interesting. Just noticing Wi-Fi might be a little slower. So I got the lid off. It wouldn't be a surprise if some RF interference is coming out of there. Well, I'm not really sure. But just to speed along, actually getting ESXi installed on there. And I'm real curious if just default ESXi that came out March 12th, if there's any issues at all. From Patrick Kennedy's article, it appears the answer is probably going to be no. It's no big deal. Just install it. I really want to see it. So, of course you can't browse a network neighborhood when you've shut down the server that it was on, right? So I'm trying to find a local copy of vSphere 6. I believe I do have that somewhere. Or I might not. Let's see. Alright, well, the drive was almost done, so I'm just going to give it a go. I'm going to get you some IPMI so you can see what's going on again. And that IPMI IP address was .189, so let's fire that up. Remember to share out my desktop so you can see what I'm doing. Could probably make that auto login from LastPass if I wanted to. Okay. I'm going to plug the SanDisk in the front. I'll just show you powering up the server with ESXi. So now the SanDisk is right here under my finger. You're going to see it pulse or strobe, but that's normal behavior on any motherboard that I've seen, where the SanDisk USB 3 just pulses bright, dim, as it's, I guess, presumably scanning the USB bus for devices, something like that. I don't know. Once it is getting further in the boot, we might actually see ESXi start to come up. So perhaps we did make media that's valid after all. We'll know shortly. So yeah, it wasn't such a good idea to shut down the server in the middle of building off of it. Kind of forgot that little point, but hey, on the amount of sleep I'm going on, it's okay. There we go. I'm just going to say why I was cleaning up a whole bunch of ISOs off my drive earlier today, right before recording video tonight, which turned out to be a bad idea. Well, again, it was actually a laptop issue where I was trying to do Veeam. I was trying to do a backup with a rather full C drive, an SSD, and it wasn't working. Clearing up space helped, but of course cratered my ability to quickly make ESXi. Another option I could do if this fails is just take it out of my existing VZIL and plunk it in here. Okay, so there's always a plan B and C and so forth. Okay, Java. Let's see if I can get remote console going. Patience. So updating Java would be a lot slicker than all this annoying stuff you're seeing, and I will need to do that. I don't think I was particularly far out of date either. So now that I've denied Java over and over and over, I should get Java popping up here soon. The Java window. Come on. Kill off the unhappy Rufus. So what did ESXi do here? Yeah, it's very angry. Okay. Well, is it angry because it's corrupt? Or is it angry because the boot order was UEFI version? I don't know. So let me just work around that. Okay, I've hit Control-Delete. And it's rebooting the server. I'm going to do the F11 thing and change the boot order to SanDisk, not SanDisk UEFI. And just see if it boots with that weird error message once again. Looks like I have an Ubuntu boot media lying around. I've got betas of ESXi 6, but I really want the GA code. Well, it'll be interesting as, like, if I slapped Windows 8.1 on there or 10, I could at least run a benchmark, get some idea if my speed's normal. We've already seen from memtest 86, everything looks normal. We even saw the megahertz. Boot, I missed it. I think it's going to come up again. Hang on. F12 and F11. Ah, wow, I really missed that. That was unfortunate. Sure thought I hit F11. It's a little slow there. So, I'm using my headset batteries. Let's see how my camera's doing. Hopefully that was plugged in. It's still running. So I've got an iPhone camera running, video as well. Glad I plugged in, because this is going pretty long. Alright. F11 has definitely been hit. Invoking boot menu at the bottom left corner. That I like. Confirming what I've done. And here, I can just pick SanDisk. Let's see if it acts a little better. Apparently not. Okay, so I'm grabbing the USB 3 key out of Xeon. Rather dangerous. I don't happen to have that one with one of those white labels, but that looks a little ugly in the video anyway, so. Let's just take Control-Delete, save a little time. Okay, so we've left it alone. We have a known good USB 3 key. We have factory default BIOS settings that'll handle the UEFI or however it's going to handle it. Whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. I suspect we're going to need to pick from the boot menu the regular SanDisk USB for this to work. But that's based on experience with my old motherboard, not the Supermicro motherboard. Oh, I'm kind of thinking fan speeds. I didn't show you that in the BIOS, or dive into IPMI too much. I guess I'll hit nothing. I'll risk it and see how UEFI goes. Not so good. So rebooting again, hitting F11, and choosing just the SanDisk from the boot menu. If that fails, got to go into BIOS and change legacy mode for USB, something along those lines. Or try maybe USB port in the back, maybe it'll be happy over there, but I'd rather leave it on the front. I like having an LED in the operating system, ESXi installed on a USB key right near the power button. I like that, so we'll see how it goes. F11. So compared to like data center servers, no, this is faster. It's not, that slow. But it seems like adding a spinny drive may have added to the boot time. Not really sure. Could just be my perception, because I'm eager to move along here. Okay, F11 worked. I confirmed it at the bottom. It's going to give me a boot menu now. And it's only one regular SanDisk. That's a little weird. Big list. Nice. VMware's alive. Okay. Let's go back to seeing if I can get Launch Console to work. And if I do, I have something to show you. A clearer view. There you go. There's the ESXi 6.0 booting. Awesome. Finally things going a little better. We're now 2 hours into this marathon session, which is about to end. Because that's all I scheduled. Can I extend the time of the broadcasts? I don't know. Never tried that before. Boy, that Q&A was lousy. And this chat over on the right just didn't work. I don't know why. Alright. ESXi is going to have a little trouble because it's going to need a valid Ethernet interface. And I don't have a second cable handy in the room I'm in. So I'm going to need to just drop IPMI once it's booted and move it over to the motherboard. And yeah, I'll just do that now. So you're back to my camera view and you're seeing me pull out the cable and I'm going to plug it in one of the gigabit ports. I don't know if it's 1 gig or 10 gig. I guess I'll find out soon. Okay, I'm getting an activity light on it, so that's a good sign. But this is going to be a different brand of NIC than the drivers that were on my media. And actually, this is not a vanilla ESXi 6.0. It's been patched to build 2715440. And I have an article right on the homepage of TinkerTry on how to patch your March 12th build to this later version. It's not that difficult. Now, booting off of USB is slower for your ESXi than off a hard drive, but I find the convenience worth it, and it's not something I do very often. So I like separating my data stores from where my operating system is. So we also have the ability to do what I did tonight, and that is just move it around super easily. It's a nice perk, right? So naturally that screen froze up locally for IPMI because we killed the cable. But what about here? So if I move my hand. The boot is now proceeding, so that's a good sign. The question will be, does it have an IP address? And we're going to know that soon. Did I guess the right Ethernet port? Nice. .50. Okay, can I ping that? I don't know. Nope. So at this point it'd be useful to have a look at F2. ESXi stuff. I hit F2 again and I say configure management network adapters, I350 disconnected. Okay, so it looks like ESXi is not seeing the Ethernet. That complicates things a little, but you know what, we're at 2 hours anyway. You can see up here we got the Supermicro logo. Ethernet was doomed to fail. It wasn't a matter of moving the cable around, right? It's a matter of a driver. So I'm not really sure how vanilla ESXi would behave, and I guess I'll be needing to find that out. So, thank you for joining me, and really appreciate your hanging out. If you look here, you'll see there's 12 viewers. Just let people know that I'm wrapping up now. Just curious, any comment there? Okay, someone said, any chance you could run VMmark in the finished build? And someone else talking about vCloud on VMTN, reincarnated article. Okay, so that's it for tonight. The heck is all that? I don't know, but I think those are questions. Thank you for watching again. I'm going to stop screen sharing and I'm going to stop this broadcast, and it's going to be on YouTube. Just under 2 hours, and have a good night. Signing out, it's Paul Brerin from TinkerTry.com. Thank you for joining.